Hey, how's it going, fight fans? Welcome to mindforcombat. If you're new to the channel, my name is Rohan. It's my platform where I do MMA and boxing related content. And guys, before I get started with the video, I just wanted to recognize that yes, I have been away for the last week. I've been traveling with my wife, enjoying the world, and I'm back now, and I've got tons of great content planned for you guys. Secondly, last night was the fight between Dominick Reyes and Chris Weidman, and I was originally planning to do like a sort of post-fight recap for that card and touch on some of the big stuff that come away from that card. But I've decided to go a bit of a different direction just because there's going to be so many content creators covering that card. You know, Eric Gore from Taylor's Tape is going to do a great job covering that, so check him out, and MMA Slam Podcast, two great channels that do two great coverage videos of that card. So I thought I'll go slightly different with this one, and I thought I'll look at one of the other big events that's happened recently, about a week ago now. Aung La Nsang took out Brandon Vera to defend his light heavyweight championship over in one championship, and you know, he took out the heavyweight champion, and it got me thinking, how would Aung La Nsang do on the American shores, and more notably UFC? How would he fare off against some of the best fighters in the UFC? Now, there's a couple of things that you got to consider coming into this fight. Firstly, Aung La Nsang is the one championship middleweight and light heavyweight champion. Now, because of one championship's weight cutting policies, middleweight is 205 and light heavyweight is 225. So Brandon Vera fought him at 225, Brandon Vera being the heavyweight champion, which is 225 and above. Now, that puts us in an interesting position because the lowest he cuts weight down to right now is 205 pounds, and we know with one's weight cutting policies, that's him hydrated. However, he's about 32 years old now, and I don't believe that he would be cutting down to 185, which is where he fought once upon a time over in US shores. I don't think he would be doing that. I think the lowest that he would be fighting at is 205, and for the purpose of this video, I'm going to compare him against maybe 4 or 5 of the top of the UFC 205 division. Obviously, there's a lot of great stuff to consider about Aung La Nsang. He's on his career best streak. He's won 7 in a row, which is the longest in his career. He's got an overall record of 26 wins and 10 losses, which meant he was 19 and 10 at one point. And actually, going on to that, he's 11 and 1 in his last 12, which makes him about 15 and 9 at one point. Just goes to show you that perseverance and determination, you can push through and still have a productive career, even if you have had a rough beginning to your MMA journey. MMA is a marathon, not a race, so you take your time with it. Just because fighters have tons of success early doesn't mean they're going to go on to be great. I mean, how sad is it to look at Cody Garbrandt, just blew out of the gates, won a world title with his 11 fights, lost 3 in a row since, all by brutal KO, and it's got everyone questioning where he ends up next. So MMA is just such an interesting and amazing sport, and Aung La Nsang is just such a great fighter. Obviously, Aung La Nsang, a superstar in one championship, and he's a superstar over in Myanmar. And I don't see him ever signing with UFC. I think he's going to finish his career with one championship, which, in my opinion, is the right thing to do for him, just because he's done so much in one championship. He's so well respected in one championship. He's got 2 world titles, potentially should go up for a third now, considering he's beaten the heavyweight champion. Aung La Nsang is the man over in one championship, and he's probably going to stay there. But this is just a fun video to get us thinking. So firstly, when we're looking at UFC's 205 division, we've got to look at the rankings. And ranked at number 1 is Daniel Cormier, who don't fight at 205 no more. Hasn't fought in 205 since January 2018 when he fought Volkan Oezdemir, I believe. And since then, it's gone up to heavyweight. He's going to have one more heavyweight fight, and then he's going to retire after that. So he's not a true light heavyweight to match him up against. So we're going to move on to Thiago Santos. Obviously, yes, John Jones, but I don't think he matches up well against John Jones at all. I think John Jones will take him to school, but that doesn't mean he doesn't do well in the UFC's light heavyweight division. He can still have a fruitful career. So we start at Thiago Santos, who's ranked at number 2 in the UFC's 205-pound rankings. Now, Thiago Santos is an interesting fight for him. Thiago Santos, a career middleweight who's recently moved up, and he's gone, I believe, 4 and 1 as a light heavyweight, including his loss to John Jones. So he's a relatively new light heavyweight as well, with a record of 21 and 7 overall in his career. Now, coming into this, if we're thinking about them matching up, you got to think about stylistically, it's a good fight for both of them because both of these men like to throw down. Aung La Nsang being as durable as he is, I believe he could survive an early storm from Thiago Santos. And yes, Thiago Santos has shown that he can adapt, but I think Aung La Nsang will keep on landing. And he's a heavy hitter as Aung La Nsang. He's a finisher. And if David Branch was able to rattle and finish Thiago Santos, you've got to think that Aung La Nsang does. Now, I'm not saying I would pick him in a fight. Maybe I can do a breakdown of that fight if you guys like. but I think he matches fairly well with him. Now let's go further down on the rankings then. Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith and Aung La Nsang's story is actually pretty similarly related in terms of their perseverance and pushing through to have a productive career in mixed martial arts. Anthony Smith actually started his career off in mixed martial arts in 17 and 11 at one point, and considering he's 32 and 14 now, that means he's gone 15 and 2 since that point. He's had a great run. So that's something to consider. So yeah, him versus Anthony Smith. Now that's an interesting one. I believe that Anthony Smith can obviously expose his deficiencies, and I believe Aung La Nsang's deficiencies will probably be in the ground. I believe Anthony Smith likes to strike though, and Aung La Nsang has the ability to strike. Aung La Nsang can hit hard. Anthony Smith can hit hard. Though it will be a great fight. It will be a great matchup. I actually see that as being a pretty competitive fight, and I think that Aung La Nsang will have his opportunities to win that fight. I think he's got the ability to keep it standing for long enough to do damage, and although Anthony Smith is dangerous, I believe Aung La Nsang is also dangerous. I actually think that's a pretty damn competitive fight for the two of them to have, and if that was to go, I think that's a complete 50-50 fight. I would actually I might lean towards Aung La Nsang to beat Thiago Santos, but I think the stylistic matchup of Anthony Smith is more of a 50-50 fight, and it's one that I actually would like to really see. Then we move down to Dominick Reyes, the man of the minute, the guy who took out Chris Weidman last night, 6-0 in the UFC. He's 12-0 overall, and one of my top prospects in the whole of the light heavyweight and UFC in general. Dominick Reyes, I believe, is a bad stylistic matchup for Aung La Nsang. I believe he's well-rounded. I believe he's the more technically proficient striker, and I believe that he would probably beat Aung La Nsang. But saying that, Volkan Oezdemir gave Dominick Reyes a whole heap of trouble on the feet, and I believe that Aung La Nsang can give him a whole heap of trouble on the feet. I believe Aung La Nsang, the problem that Aung La Nsang has probably matching up with a lot of these American or guys fighting in the UFC light heavyweights is that he'll be a little bit smaller than them. He stands at 6'2", or 6'1" maybe. He's got like a 74-inch reach, so he's not the biggest guy that you'll find. But I believe that he can match up well with a lot of these guys. Dominick Reyes may be an exception, but I do think he can give Dominick Reyes some troubles. I can see holes for him to exploit. I would pick Dominick Reyes in that fight, but I believe Aung La Nsang fares fairly well against him. Then he moves down to Jan Blachowicz. Jan Blachowicz just took out Luke Rockhold, but I think Jan Blachowicz has clear holes in this game, and I think Aung La Nsang has a clear path to victory over him. And that's actually a really interesting one to consider, him versus Jan Blachowicz. Jan Blachowicz is a very talented fighter who I respect a lot, very experienced, with a record of 24-8. Similarly experienced is Aung La Nsang with a record of 26-10. It's a great fight. It's one that I would like to see. I would pick Aung to win that. So that's actually quite interesting, guys, ain't it? When you think about it, I've just gone through the top 4 or 5 guys in the UFC's light heavyweight division below John Jones, and I think Aung La Nsang matches up fairly well with all of them. And if we go lower in the top 10, then I think he beats a lot of those guys pretty handedly, including guys like Glover Teixeira, who's getting on in age now, has slowed down, and I believe that Aung La Nsang has the tools to beat him. So Aung La Nsang is actually someone that I would rank in the top 5 of the 205 division in the entire world right now, outside of one championship. And it just gets you thinking, doesn't it? It gets you thinking that the scope of MMA maybe is changing, maybe a little bit, and I wouldn't mind seeing a change. I wouldn't mind seeing a shift in the dynamic from where everything outside of UFC is seen trash, not by myself and the guys watching it. You guys are hardcore, so no doubt you guys watch Bellator, and I've got a great breakdown coming up for you guys. Actually, Rory Mack versus Douglas Steamer, so check that out when that comes out. But the scheme, the world of MMA is all changing. There's tons of stuff going on. There's loads of developing dynamics. There's organizations that are harboring their own talent, that are growing their own talent, and fighters are rising to the occasion. It's giving more platforms for fighters to compete on, and that's what I've always been about. It's just because more platforms for more fighters is better for us fans, because we get to see more fights. And UFC can't just get away with charging you guys pay-per-view, and now BT Sports is doing the same thing. Well, if one championship provides us an alternative where there's great fighters there, well, maybe we can skip a card or two, save some money in our pocket, and treat our families to something nice. But anyways, guys, why don't you guys comment below? Let me know how you guys think Aung La Nsang will do in the UFC. I think he would feel off pretty good. I think he's a superstar in one championship, and I'm very interested to see how he plays out. A dream fight for me right now will be a cross promotion with Aung La Nsang versus Ryan Bader. That would be great. 2 champs colliding, both fight at 205. There's no reason why that fight couldn't be made. I think that will really shake up the scheme in the entire world. let me know if you guys want to see me do a breakdown of that fight as well. That could be a lot of fun, just a little fantasy fight breakdown. Could be a lot of fun. I might just get that done anyways. And anyways, guys, comment below. Thank you for watching. I'm Rohan. This is Mindful Combat. Thank you.